Good morning. Welcome to my thought for the day. I'm going to talk this morning about one of my favourite characters in the Bible. His story is dotted about in the first 5 books, and his name is Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. And he was one of the 12 spies chosen by Moses to go from Kadesh Barnea into the Promised Land, to spy it out and to see what it was like and see what the cities were like, what the people were like, and bring back reports of what the land was like. This was before the 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. And the 12 men, 2 of them were Joshua, the son of Nun, who succeeded Moses in leadership, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. And the 12 came back and they reported that the land was wonderful. It was fruitful. It was fertile, but the cities were very strong and walled. And 10 of the spies, each one represented a different tribe, each person. 10 of them said, "We'll never be able to take the land. The people are far too strong. They're giants. We're like grasshoppers. It's impossible." But Caleb and Joshua said, "No, if God is with us, we'll do. God has sent us. Nothing can stop us. We will go." And the people accepted the verdict of the 10 and refused to go into the land, and God punished them by letting them wander in the wilderness until all of the generation that had agreed with the 10 who said no had died off, except Caleb and Joshua, and of course Moses was still around at that time. And then all of them died off, and actually Moses went up the mountain and disappeared, didn't he, as well? And in Joshua 14, Caleb comes to Joshua and says, "Now that we're in the land, Moses promised me the part of the land that I spied out, Hebron and its surrounding parts, and now I've come to claim it." Verse 9 of Joshua 14, "And Moses swore on that day, saying, 'Surely the land on which your foot has trodden shall be an inheritance for you and your children, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God.'" And Caleb claimed it and was given it, and was given Hebron and the area around Hebron. And it's the thought that has always been with me about Caleb and why he's one of my heroes, is that this man for 40 years waited for the reward for his faithfulness and his goodness, and he wholly followed the Lord in all that time. And he never saw it, not until he was 80 or 85, I think he was. Yes, 85. Because he says to Joshua in verse 7, "I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land." And now in verse 10, "Behold, the Lord has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years since the time that the Lord spoke this word to Moses. Lo, I am this day 85 years old." He waited 45 years for what had been promised to him to be given to him. And he wholly followed the Lord his God throughout that. You know, it's very important that we serve the Lord wholeheartedly, not half-heartedly, not lukewarmly, but wholeheartedly, committing our way to the Lord in every aspect, loving him with all our heart and mind and soul, wholly committed to God, following, just like the disciples of Jesus followed him for 3 years. They didn't go back to their fishing during that time. They followed him. They stayed with him, and they followed him for the rest of their lives. He changed their life forever. Wholeheartedness. Jesus told a story, or a little parable, saying what man, if he was going to build a tower, wouldn't sit down and work out whether he could actually do it before he did it, in case he got halfway through and he ran out of money and materials and he couldn't finish it, and everyone would laugh at him. And he also said if there was somebody who was going to battle, wouldn't he first sit down and work out how many troops the other guy's got, how many troops have I got, how long is it going to take to besiege his city, will I be able to do this, will I be able to do that, before he starts. And that's why I think it's so important, really, that people are not rushed into making a commitment to Jesus, because they need to understand that it's going to cost them everything. They need to think about it before they commit. It's too easy to say, yes, Lord, I will, and then not actually follow. We need to know that it's going to involve everything, and we may not for years get the fullness of his blessing. May take years for God to get us into the right place to fulfill his purposes in our lives, but we have to follow him wholeheartedly. Caleb is my hero in his wholeheartedness. He just kept following, and he watched all the people he had spied out with, all the rest of the camp, all slowly die off over those 45 years. Must have been really difficult at times, but he just pursued God with everything that he had. And that's the key to it, is to serve the Lord with all our might, our mind constantly turning to following him, turning to scriptural principles. It takes time. It takes commitment. It takes time to read through the scriptures and know what it says. It takes commitment, and we need to commit. We need to be wholehearted in our following of Jesus. That's enough for today. God bless you. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.